We've all felt pain, right? It's our body's built-in alarm system. But what happens when that system goes haywire? Today, we're diving into something called neuropathic pain, a really complex and misunderstood condition where the pain is the disease. So let's just start with this question because it really gets to the heart of it. What if the pain you were feeling wasn't actually a warning about anything? What if it was just a false alarm, a loud blaring signal with absolutely no fire behind it? That's the baffling reality for millions of people.
You know, to really get what goes wrong, we have to appreciate what goes right. Normal pain is actually a good thing. It's that sharp, immediate ouch when you touch a hot stove or the throb from a twisted ankle. It's an essential warning from your body that says, hey, stop that. You're going to get hurt. It's a healthy, protective response. Neuropathic pain, though, is a completely different beast. The official definition talks about a lesion or disease of the somatosensory nervous system. Okay, in plain English, that's the part of your nervous system that handles everything you feel. Touch, hot, cold, and, yep, pain. So the key thing to get here is that the problem isn't in your skin or muscles. It's in the wiring itself. The alarm system is broken, and it's just ringing and ringing for no reason at all.
And this is where things get really, really weird. This faulty wiring leads to one of the most counterintuitive things about this condition, a paradox that just messes with your head.
I want you to try and imagine this. An area of your skin feels completely numb. You could poke it and not feel a thing. And yet that exact same numb spot is the source of constant, agonizing pain. How is that possible? This bizarre mix of feeling absolutely nothing and feeling terrible pain all in the same place, that's the hallmark of neuropathic pain.
And this pain shows up in a couple of main flavors. First, you've got spontaneous pain. That's pain that just pops up out of nowhere, a constant burning or maybe sudden shooting jolts. But then there's the other kind, and this one is even stranger. It's called evoked pain, or allodynia. And this is where the crossed wires really show. It's when something totally harmless, like your shirt brushing against your skin, or even a cool breeze, suddenly becomes intensely painful.
And you know, this isn't some new discovery. Doctors have been scratching their heads about this for a long, long time. Check out this quote. It's from 1872. It's from Silas Weir Mitchell, who's basically one of the fathers of American neurology. He's describing allodynia perfectly, based on what he saw in soldiers after the Civil War. He noticed that a simple touch could become painful, right alongside a loss of normal feeling.
So because the whole system is malfunctioning, the pain signals it generates are often, bizarre. People don't just say, oh, it hurts. They have to reach for a whole different vocabulary. They'll describe it as burning, shooting, pricking, or like pins and needles, or even an electric shock. These are the words the brain has to invent when it's trying to make sense of all this corrupted data coming from damaged nerves.
Okay, so if the wiring is faulty, where's the break? Let's follow the signal path and see where the damage can actually happen.
Well, the short answer is almost anywhere. The somatosensory system is this long, continuous superhighway of nerves. It starts with nerve endings all over your skin, travels up your spinal cord, and ends way up in the brain. Damage at any point along that entire chain can set off neuropathic pain.
So a lesion, which is really just a medical term for damage, can pop up anywhere along this path. It could be in what are called the peripheral nerves, the ones out in your arms and legs. It could happen in the spinal cord, maybe from an injury or a disease like MS. Or the damage could be right inside the brain itself, say after a stroke. Where the damage is determines where you feel the pain.
Now, since the problem can be in so many different places, it means neuropathic pain isn't just one single thing. It's a symptom that shows up in a ton of different medical conditions. So how on earth do doctors organize all this chaos?
Actually, the main classification is pretty straightforward. It's based on the location of that lesion we just talked about. If the damage is in the peripheral nerves, so outside the brain and spinal cord, it gets classified as peripheral neuropathic pain. A classic example is painful diabetic neuropathy. But if the damage is inside the brain or the spinal cord, it's called central neuropathic pain, like what can happen after a stroke.
Figuring this out for sure can be tricky, so doctors use this cool grading system to build a case, kind of like a detective. So step 1, is there a history of nerve damage, like from diabetes or an old injury? Step 2, does the location of the pain actually make sense with where they think the nerve damage is? Step 3, when they examine you, do they find sensory signs, like numbness or that weird pain from touch, in the same area? If you check all 3 boxes, it's considered probable neuropathic pain. And if you can get to step 4, confirming the lesion with a test, then you've got a definite diagnosis.
You can probably tell understanding all of this has been a huge challenge.
And it's a puzzle that scientists have been piecing together for well over a century.
From Weir Mitchell back in the 1800s all the way to modern neurobiologists, the central question has always been the same. How can an injury to the very system that detects damage somehow, paradoxically, create a painful sensation out of thin air? The search for that answer is just a fascinating story of scientific discovery.
And on that note, just look at this incredible image. This isn't just some random sketch. This is a scientific drawing from 1906 by Santiago Ramón y Cajal, who won a Nobel Prize for his work. What you're looking at are nerve fibers that have been cut. The healthy nerve is that clean line at the top, and below it, well, below it is this chaotic, tangled mess of the nerve trying to regenerate. Cajal literally showed us what nerve damage looks like under a microscope. This beautiful, jumbled mess, that's the physical source of the broken alarm.
So it all brings us back to a pretty profound question. Neuropathic pain shows us that our experience of the world isn't some perfect, direct recording. It's a construction, right? It's an interpretation that's being built moment by moment by our nervous system. And when that system is damaged, it can build a reality of pain where none actually exists. So it really forces you to ask, if our perception of something as real and fundamental as pain can be a phantom, what does that tell us about everything else we perceive?